Hello duelists, my name is Charlie, I am the Kaiba Corp intern, and in today's video I'm showing off the deck profile for the Tearlament Slayers themselves, the Exosisters. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so here we are with the deck list, and as we like to do on this channel, before we go through the card by card, we're going to talk a bit about the deck's strategy, what the archetype tries to do. So with Exosisters, all the main deck monsters share this effect where if your opponent moves a card or cards out of either graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon from your extra deck one Exosister Xyz monster using this face-up card you control as material. Martha has the flexibility where you can be the one to move a card out of the graveyard. It's not restricted to just being from your opponent. And they get to all go into these powered up forms that have additional stronger effects, and you also have access to their powerful trap cards like Vadis, which is a special summon 2 from the deck, which you can do in response to your opponent doing something in the graveyard so that you get 2 effects to power up afterwards. And you also have Returnia, which is a targeting banish, and you get the option to either Xyz summon after that, or if you already did Xyz summon, you get to banish a card your opponent controls which doesn't target. It's really good there. So as you can see, very built on punishing graveyard strategies. You're going to see a bit more as we go through the card by card. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, we got 3 DD Crow. Really amazing this format because you can target the Tearlament cards that activated in the grave, banishing them so that they can't shuffle back into the graveyard for the fusion summon. Also triggers Martha, so really good to have in tandem with her. You also have 3 of each main deck monster, so 3 Ellis, 3 Stella, 3 Irene, and 3 Sophia, and of course 3 of the best one, 3 Martha. We're on 2 Dimension Shifter because it's an amazing blowout against Tearlament, but also even in some other matchups too, you are never really worried about your graveyard. The only thing that even considers the graveyard is packs, and that extra effect doesn't really matter that much. So Dimension Shifter, a very safe play in your deck, and it's only going to punish your opponent really. So play as many copies as you can right now. Play as many copies as you can. Right now it's 2, so we're on 2. We're also playing 2 Talent, which is a pretty good card this format because your opponent is going to be doing a lot of stuff even on your own turn. So you can Talent going first because your opponent doing Havness or doing Keldo or Kelbeck, any stuff like that. I mean, they're going crazy. They're snowballing and just going absolutely nuts on your own turn. So Talents, you get some kind of benefit out of it too. We're also on 1 Prosperity to be able to search for either barrier or one of the power traps that we don't already have or we haven't already searched out. We're on the 1 Carpe Diem, which is an amazing card this format because you can call Kikalos, you can call anything else against rogue matchups or non-tier matchups like Branded Fusion against Branded. You can call Shishao or even just Moyi. Call Moyi against Sword Soul. Call Proto. So you can have a lot of options. So Carpe Diem, really great blowout card as long as you know what your opponent's doing. 2 Forbidden Chalice because even though Imperm is good since you can use it on your opponent's turn, the flexibility of Chalice to be able to use it at essentially any time on your turn without any kind of cost is pretty good. So we're on 2 of that, and it does come up quite a bit. We're also on 2 Call by the Grave, mainly because of Martha, because we're not usually getting the banish since the shufflers exist. Mudora, Keldo, a lot of the times they're not going to be able to get the called by through, so the called by is mainly just to force stuff so that Martha can trigger. We're also on 3 packs, of course, for the Searcher. We're on 1 Armament for the flexibility. Sometimes you have a weird hand, maybe you open up just Ellis and just Armament, and against Tearlament you can just shotgun it right away, go into Sophiel, and their turn's pretty much over after that. We're also on 3-dimensional Barrier because it's an amazing blowout against pretty much any deck that has a 1 primary extra deck summoning method. So right now fusions are going crazy, so call fusion, their turn is over. After Barrier we have 3 Vadis, which is an amazing card. Being able to summon 2 monsters in response to your opponent about to move something out of the graveyard is just insane. It's a really powerful trap card. We're on 3 of those, and 3 Returnia, of course, to be able to banish our opponent's cards and even do some cheesy stuff with the Xyz summon effect as well. Extra deck, we are looking at 1 F-Zero and 1 UDF to go with it. Really doesn't come up that often. Now that we have Magnifica, we almost never go into this, but it's an option. We have 1 Dweller. We have so many in archetype graveyard punishing cards that we don't often make this, but once again, it's an option, so we have it. 1 Maguska to help with any matchups that we're going against where they're not a graveyard heavy strategy. Maguska gives us a turn or 2 to kind of build a stronger board. We have 3 Michaelis and 3 Caspatel because they're the searchers, so you want to see as many copies as possible. Sometimes you banish 1 Caspatel off the Prosperity. Doesn't feel too bad when you do. We're on 1 Gabrine and 2 Asophiel. Gabrine is mainly to close out games into OTK, but Asophiel is the new power card of this format. Being able to shut off any card effect in the graveyard for the rest of the turn is absolutely devastating in this format. So Asophiel, new MVP, be prepared to summon her a lot more than you used to if you were playing Exosisters before this format. And closing it out, we have 2 Magnifica, just because it's an amazing going second card, and amazing going first too. Non-targeting banish, 2 attacks, you do this with Gabrine, lights out. So that's the deck list, now let's go see it in action in some replays. In this first game, we are going against Branded Despia. I mainly just want to show off what the deck can do, even against something that's not Tearlament, even when we're not in a Tier 0 format, what some matchups look like. So, we start off with the Sophia draw, we go ahead and make our Caspatel after summoning our Ellis. We do Caspatel detach 1 to get, which is almost always going to be a Martha, so we get the Martha. We go ahead and do Martha, summon out herself and an Ellis, go into a Michaelis here, detach 1 from Michaelis to search out a Vadis since we already have Returnia in hand. We're going to go ahead and set 3, including a called by, and pass off to our opponent. We're not making Magnifica here because we wanted to see what our opponent's doing. We can always Returnia to Exceed Summon. They start off with Patchwork, get a Poly, and a Chain, so we know they're probably playing Branded Despia, right? They start off with the Poly. We are chilling so far. They use Chain and Tragedy to go into a Masquerade of all things. Now, we're going to go ahead and try to call by the Tragedy just so they don't get Branded Fusion later on. That's the dream. So they do their chain blocking, but we have a called by. We pay 6 for it. Getting that out of here. And you know what? We're going to return the Masquerade too. We're already paying 600 for our own card effects. We don't want to be double taxed every single time, so let's get that out of here also. We're also going to use the additional effect to make a Magnifica. Returnia can Exceed Summon after the effect's applied, so we can make Magnifica on the resolution, which we're going to go ahead and do. Tragedy's banished from called by, so no effect there. Edgem Chain resolves, but they already did Patchwork, so we're not really worried about it. After that, they summon Albaz. We're going to Magnifica to banish it, so they can't use it as material. At which point they actually do Super Poly, which feels bad. But then we realize, hey, our effect still goes through. So like, what are you going to do? What are you going to make? Make a Mirror Jade? Sure. Chain resolves, Magnifica, non-targeting, banish the Mirror Jade. Destroy all my monsters at the end of the turn? I don't have any. Go for it, dude. So, turn passes back to us. We have an unused Vadis, so let's go ahead and do it. Vadis bring out Sophia and Irene. Overlay those 2 after we draw with Sophia, of course. Oh, it feels so good, Dimensional Barrier. Amazing. So, Caspatel, detach, get a Martha again, just because it's the best card. It's a free Sea Summon. It's a free Seas monster. So, Martha and Ellis. DD Crow to be able to Martha by herself. This is where it comes up, y'all. This is where it comes up. We make Michaelis. Michaelis is going to go ahead and detach, get us a Armament. And since we have just about every name under the sun in our graveyard, we can go ahead. We're going to banish the Edgem Chain just for, BM purposes. Pax, and Pax will be able to summon because we have the appropriate Ellis in the graveyard. So, Stella is there. We go into a Gabrine, and then it's a short effect to boost up, and Magnifica away from lethal. And we're just going to close it out from there. Battle phase, Michaelis in, Magnifica twice to close it out against Branded Despia. That's all it takes. That's all you need. Alright, in this next match, it's the one you've all been waiting for. We are against TearShizu Tearlament, and I'm just going to show you how much of a blowout Shifter really is. It's just an unwinnable game for our opponent, truly. So they make the terrible mistake by crowing the Shifter. So they've already lost at this point because we now get to go into 3 Exceed monsters and Shifter has resolved successfully. So we're essentially just going to power on through this. We're building a crazy chain link. They actually build upon it too. For some reason they decide to right here activate in Nagito. So we say, you know what, let's have some fun. Pax, let's go to chain link 5, right? Let's just do it. So chain resolves. Pax is going to go ahead and get us a Returnia. Agito is going to come on down. And now we get to go crazy like it's the Exceed Festival. We are going to go into a Asophiel to lock out any graveyard effects. We are going to then, with Sophia, go into Michaelis for a banish and a search. And with Martha, we're going to go into a Caspatel to lock out summoning from the graveyard and a monster search with her effect as well. Asophiel and Caspitel both trigger their on-summon effects to lock out their graveyard. Chain's gonna resolve just fine. We Talons to see what they're on, like what else they have in their hand, and look at this. They have Kelbeck, Mudora, and Sheeran. Shifter's already resolved. We're not worried about any of this, but let's go ahead and tuck back the Sheeran just to be safe. Just in case anything crazy happens, you know? So we're gonna go ahead and Michaelis to search, chain to itself, banish the Agido so it has no chance of making its way to the graveyard. In any way whatsoever, hopefully, ideally, right? Then we search to get a Vadis, and now we're gonna go ahead and cast Patel to search out a Ellis, because they crowed earlier, so they actually do have a card in the graveyard that we can mess with later on, or that they can mess with later on. So we're gonna Ellis, and then we're going to make a Magnifica, and sit on a Returnia and Vadis pass. Now, our opponent, under Shifter, really can't do anything, but they're gonna try. The Mudora, discard, banishing Kelbeck for cost. Then they try to attack in, we Magnifica, they go ahead and Havness, which is fine, because like I said, Shifter's resolved, so what are we worried about? We're going to chain Magnifica to go into Asophiel because it's funny, and you'll see why we do this later on. I want to close this game out in some serious Exosister style. So we make Asophiel, they banish some stuff, we Magnifica to banish the Havness, we Asophiel, no card effects in the graveyard, no graveyard anyways, so it doesn't matter. Returnia, target Mudora. They chain Mudora for no reason, I really don't know why, because now they're going to shuffle back the Crow, which is going to trigger our Ellis. They could not have made more mistakes in this match. I can't stress enough how bad their decisions were. Their decisions were just all wrong. So we make a Gabrine, and we want to close it out, like I said, with some style. So we summon Stella effect, summon Martha, make the fourth and final Exosister rank 4. We got all of them on the field. Gabrine, boost them up, close it out with every single one of the powered up main deck monsters. It looks good, and it feels good too. For the third and final replay of the video, I'm going to show off how strong the deck is, even without Dimension Shifter against TearShizu. So we're going to start off with a Carpe Diem, then we're going to do a Pax. We're going to get a Sophia to be able to get an additional draw here, since we have an Ellis in hand. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon the Sophia, special out the Ellis, Sophia effect, you get a draw. We get a DD Crow, which is huge in this format, especially just to be able to do for a Martha. So Crow is already big. We do Carpe Diem to call Imperm. Probably should have ordered the chain the other way around, cast Patel first, then Carpe Diem, but you know what? You learn from replays. That's why we're watching these, right? We go ahead and get a Martha to hand, use her effect to get herself and an Ellis out, overlay into a Michaelis, pretty standard stuff. And since we already have a Returnia, you know where we're going with this, we're getting out the Vadis. Set 3, make a Magnifica, and we're feeling pretty darn comfortable, so let's go ahead and pass it to our opponent right here. They draw for turn, and they, of all things, actually had the Imperm, so the Carpe Diem kind of paid off. We're going to chain Magnifica to bring out a different monster, so the Imperm loses its target, and we're going to make Michaelis for the banish. We still don't really know what our opponent's on, but you know what? In this format, you can't be too safe. So we have a Carpe Diem we can activate here, and we're gonna. We have only seen an Imperm from our opponent. We have no idea what they're on, but we're in a tier 0 format. So, Carpe Diem, call Tearlament's Kikalos. They Mudora, pitch Kelbeck for cost. We DD Crow the Kelbeck so it can't resolve in a new chain. And just to add insult to injury, we Vadis. And at this point, they see all hope is lost. I do not think I can deal with this, and I'm scooping it up. So, no Shifter, no problem. Exosisters are clearly the Tearlament Slayer. Alright, we're back with the deck, and I gotta say, if you're gonna be playing ranked this format and you're not playing TearShizu, first off. Second off, I really recommend this deck. It's a lot of fun. It's gonna be a strong deck even in other formats as well. It's a really good strategy just in and of itself. But there's no better time to be playing it than right now when TearShizu, a heavily graveyard-centric strategy, is the best deck in the room by a landslide. The shufflers will trigger them, the Tearlament cards themselves trigger them, and you even get to just lock out your opponent for the entire turn with stuff like a Sophiel, and even Caspitel shuts down a lot of stuff for your opponent as well. So definitely the best counter pick if you ask me. If you're not playing the Floodgate, like Dark Imprisoning Mirror type of stuff right now, this deck will definitely be a lot of fun to counter a Shizu tier, and honestly, D-Shifter alone will win you a game. But even if you don't see it, as you could see in the replays, they are good enough to perfectly counter the best deck in the room, even at the crazy power level they're at. Quickly just want to say, ban Chaos Ruler, ban Sprite Elf, And please, for the love of God, can we hit Tearlaments a lot harder than they already been hit? It's not good. And the TearShizu cards, they're a problem. They're a problem. Anyways, had to get that out. Thank you for watching. Really, really appreciate it. If you found the video entertaining or helpful in any way, please drop me a thumbs up. It would be huge for me. Also, if you found anything interesting about the video and you want to drop a comment, please go ahead and sound off down below. I'm always reading every comment, trying to respond to each of them too. So always looking forward to chatting with you guys down there. And if you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it, go ahead and subscribe down below and click the notification bell next to it. That way you'll be notified and in the loop whenever we drop anything on the channel. Thank you once again. I really appreciate your time. I have to get back to work, and you all gotta take care of each other. Peace.